And the first day of Black History Month is a day we remember a monumental moment in our past, National Freedom Day. Today, we remember President Abe Lincoln signing the joint resolution to adopt the 13th Amendment in the Constitution 157 years ago, effectively ending slavery and indentured servitude in America. That's why we're bringing on someone with a wealth of knowledge on Black history. Joining us right now is Dr. Greg Carr. He teaches Africana Studies and Law at Howard University. Welcome. You have to help me with that first, the Africana Studies. Tell our viewers about
Yes.
that real quick, for those of us who haven't
Well,
been in
Africana
school for a
studies.
while.
Thank you, Laverne, for the invitation. Africana studies, simply put, is the study of Africa when and wherever you find it. It's the name of the academic discipline in which I received my PhD, and it's the kind of common label given to the study of Africa beyond any one particular country. Even though we have obviously subject area emphases, mine including African American intellectual history. So it's the broad umbrella term, Africana.
Okay, Black history trivia. Got it. Thank you. All right, so this day marks a day of progress for Black people, but slavery did not end at the time. It did not stop immediately. It took a while for many Black people to actually be freed. Talk about what happened and why.
Well, the struggle of African people to not only free ourselves and be freed, but to achieve full citizenship and equal rights in the United States has been one that, of course, we've been waging since we were abducted to these shores. And by the 1850s, the rumors of war had begun. And of course, by 1861, the Civil War had jumped off. After the Civil War, there was an attempt basically to re-enslave African people in the South. And the period of Reconstruction saw the passage of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. And of course, as you said, today is the anniversary of the signing of the 13th Amendment, abolishing enslavement, except for punishment for conviction of a crime, unfortunately. But in that long fight since then, it's been a real struggle for Black citizenship in a country that hasn't always been fully committed to that. In fact, there have been deep ambivalences in the project. So formal enslavement ends in 1865, but the afterlives of enslavement, which include Jim Crow or American apartheid, which include continuing race-based inequalities and racial hierarchies that persist and problems that persist to this day, means that the struggle continues.
So, some people argue the proclamation failed to address several nuances. What are your thoughts on that, and how do you teach this era in your classrooms?
It's a difficult one, I think, for all of us teachers to teach because the proclamation really was a call from the Lincoln administration and the Union for the Southern states to return to the Union. There was a preliminary emancipation issue that said states in rebellion to the United States would basically have until the first of the year to come back to the Union, and if they did, they would not lose their enslaved Africans. January 1st, 1863. When the Emancipation Proclamation went into effect, there were several territories, including Maryland, parts of Maryland and Louisiana, where the Union had already seized control, that were exempted. And the border states were exempted. So that enslavement in Tennessee and Kentucky and Maryland didn't end until the passage of the 13th Amendment. It was basically a political act. However, Black folk took that emancipation. Close to 200,000 Black soldiers and sailors stuck it on the end of gun bayonets and barrels and went out and made it stand up by defeating the Confederate Army. So there was a symbolic importance. I think that may have been the greatest importance. And it was a prelude to the long freedom struggle that came after the end of the Civil War.
So, Professor, here we are, February 1st. It's the beginning of Black History Month. Your university actually got a bomb scare threat. We also know that, 60 years ago, the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, was bombed by a white supremacist. 4 girls there were killed, 20 injured.
Yes.
I mean, what are your thoughts about what we're seeing happening here in history?
Well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Not just the 4 young sisters who lost their lives at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham that day, but 2 boys who died in the streets. There was a rally in which one of them was shot, of white folks celebrating segregation. So the struggle continues. It reminds me of W.E.B. Du Bois, who wrote during Reconstruction about Reconstruction that the opposition to Negro education in the South was at first bitter and showed itself in ashes, insult, and blood. For the South believed an educated Negro to be a dangerous Negro, and the South was not wholly wrong. These bomb threats we're seeing today are part of a long American tradition of attempts at intimidation, attempts at oppression, but they have not succeeded. They didn't succeed then, and they won't succeed now. And so we pause on February the 1st, and we pay tribute to a formerly enslaved African, Richard Robert Wright, born in 1855, whose idea was for National Freedom Day, a very important figure who persisted in the long struggle for freedom. So the struggle continues.
Professor Carr, thank you so much. Your wealth of knowledge, great way to start out celebrating Black History Month. Thanks so much.